Live on Building in Public today with Deshpande from Simplified. Hi, KD. Welcome.
Hi, David. Hi, Mishti. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for spending the time. So, we were just looking at Simplified and excited to hear the story because it looks like it's a very visual design tool. And, obviously, like we're very visual people just as humans, but then Misty and I work on Highlighter, which is a visual tool in a very different sense. But we like to create videos together, so it seems like a nice way to create video and get to showcase a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, happy to share more stuff and everything we've been doing. This might be our first public preview.
Great!
Ooh, it's so exciting!
Yeah. Cool. Breaking news here.
Lucky us.
Well, we would love to get to all of kind of the product and hear about it, but one of the ways that Misty and I like to start is to kind of rewind and sort of learn about you and your journey and sort of what led you to building Simplified and kind of where are you in the process of building. I don't know if you want to take us back to wherever makes sense.
Sure. So I born in a very small town in India. Then in a very my dad is lawyer and my mom is in a kind of cancer research. So they were like really an educated family. But then
what town is it?
It's in near Bombay. It's in Maharashtra state, one of the states.
Oh, nice. I lived in Bombay for a bit over a year recently. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And I did I lived there, then did my undergrad, worked a couple of years in India, and I was always fascinated towards like entrepreneurship. Like, hey, I learned a few things, and I was like, hey, it makes sense to just do something for yourself, work for yourself. That idea sort of attracted me to pursue my further education. And when I came to in 2000, I think 7-8 time frame, I came to US to do my master's. I came here with like $2,000. Can you imagine, like with a scholarship and $2,000, and out of which I bought like $800 Dell.
Oh yeah.
And then I just had like $200 to survive for next 4 months. Then I got the scholarship. Started my first company with my professor in ASU. My professor in a completely different space, like virtualization and all stuff. I think that's where my journey started in a real sense.
Was that scary when you came with $2,000? Did you feel more scared or more excited?
It's kind of, I knew that I'll figure out something. But yeah, it's a new country. It's like miles away from your home. So coming here and just exploring things, that gave me a lot of different perspective. And when you're out there, you usually meet good people who are willing to help you along the way. I would say my professor was one of them, who kind of believed in me and said he was also a big into entrepreneurship. So he believed in me and said, okay, why don't you come and work with me on my research project? So then we together started a company called as Virtuon back into virtualization space in 2008 when AWS was just starting. So we were helping small businesses to move their servers, racks into public cloud. Like that was our business. And he wanted to do more research in more of a hardware side. And I was like, that's not me. Then I came to Bay Area. And again, as a hacker, as an engineer, I'm still fan of like listening a lot of music while coding. So I stumbled upon this site called as a TuneIn Radio, which is like a music kind of a Google for streams. So I thought this is a pretty cool company. They were a small startup in Austin, I think Dallas back then. I applied and they gave me a job. I came to Bay Area and I came to Bay Area in like 2010-11 time frame.
Did you move with TuneIn?
Yeah. So TuneIn interviewed me in Dallas and invited me in Bay Area to join their. Like they said, hey, by the way, we just raised like $900,000 from Sequoia.
Right.
We are moving our headquarters from Dallas to like Palo Alto. Why don't you come
Was
there?
that the little hut on Alma?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I
So
visited there.
oh nice, wow,
Oh wow.
that's
Yeah,
small world.
yeah.
So I still remember that day. I walked in and it was like a broken garage.
Yeah.
It's freezing cold. And there were like one product manager, two developers were just like coding, and I was like, oh, Devin, okay, let's do this. And,
Hmm. Yeah.
I had the best time there. Made a lot of good friends. Worked there for like 2 3 years. We grew the company from early stage to like millions of users. Uh,
Hmm.
and then I started hacking on my second project while I was working at TuneIn. Weekends, night, we built sort of crash reporting and feedback for mobile developers, build
Hmm.
SDKs. And then after 6 9 months working on that idea, one fine day our Nginx servers were like boiling because we were
Hmm.
like, oh, maybe it is a DDoS attack or something is happening. Apparently, like someone found our SDK, put it into the application, and they deployed in, and there are
It
millions of users. We were like scrambling, two of us, me and my
was
co-founder.
the dream, but you never imagined it would actually happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We were scrambling to just do a lot of stuff, and then eventually, some of the friends at TuneIn encouraged us to quit and do it. But then again, this whole I was on visa
Mm.
back then, and then navigating through the whole that visa ecosystem was really really tough. At a
Hmm.
point, we sponsored our visa and then got through. Thanks to back then's, there was a startup visa, which kind of
Yeah.
helped us through navigate through that situation. We built the team, raised funding. Along the way, we had acquisition offer, and um, we were like, hey, I don't want to name the company, but they gave us like pretty poor offer. But as a someone who built the company, we were like really excited that, oh, we got offer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody's getting acquired, and at the same time, 500 startups invited us to apply for their next batch. And me and my co-founder, we walked there and said, hey, we have an offer. Don't think we can join this accelerator program.
Hmm.
And the back then Dave McClure was there, and he was like, okay, how many $1 million they are paying you guys? And we were like, no, they're just paying us like some sign-on bonus for acquiring our company. He said like, literally f that, just work,
Hmm.
follow your dream. That was, I think, another second pivotal moment in my
Mm.
career.
Hmm.
Then we went through 500 startups, raised more money, build the team, got like build a decent business, and we pivoted into mobile marketing automation. If you remember, like
Hmm.
2011, 12, it's all about mobile marketing automation. Like everybody was sending push notification.
Hmm.
Marketers were struggling to keep up with that pace. So we built the whole orchestration engine, and in
Hmm.
2015, Mercado, who is like the leading player in the marketing automation space, said, "Guys, look, we are traditionally email. Mobile is like a new channel for us.
Yeah.
You guys know how to do it." And that's how they acquired us. The next 3 years, we integrated into Mothership. That is another really interesting experience, from like going a startup scrappy founder to become a head of product, and then driving all the partnerships, taking product from like US and launching it in the international markets. Um, then
What were the biggest surprises when you were kind of joining the mothership? Whether I guess there must be some things that are easier and some things that are harder.
yeah, I mean, I first 3 months I was like, I can't do this. I want to quit. Um, and today's Notion COO, Akshay Kothari, he's my
Hmm.
friend, mentor. So I was like, hey, AK, I don't think I can do this. I want to quit. Like he was, and at the same time, he sold Pulse to LinkedIn. And he
Hmm.
told me probably a really, really great advice back then. He said, Kerry, no doubt you will build a big company in the future, but you will run into these problems again. So why not
Hmm.
learn right now, rather than learning have this learning coming later in your future. I think that was probably the third pivotal moment in my life. I said, okay, let's stick through this. Let's learn how to navigate into the big corporate, how to still operate like entrepreneur and get things done. Learn through how to deal with like corporate politics and bureaucracy. We shipped a lot of these things there, and we kind of innovated a lot many things. Then got an opportunity to lead all the partnership ecosystem there. And then Vista Equity acquired Mercado, and then I joined Uber, where Uber is an amazing company. I mean, they are just like a juggernaut. They were spending billions of dollars on marketing and just on growth. And my role was like, how can we bring efficiencies and how can we bring the monetization in the ecosystem?
Right.
Think about that monetization. And if you see right now, there are a lot of cars on the road. Back then, there were like 4 million plus driver partners, and then there are restaurants ecosystem. So how can we monetize this ecosystem? So we build a lot of stuff. So if you have seen like these cars with digital billboards, those are like our brainchild.
Oh, cool.
And then later, then I joined Facebook early last year to work on Messenger. But then that entrepreneurial thing was constantly hitting me, bugging me for last 5 years since our last acquisition. Like, hey, I want to do something again. I want to go back to the field. I like that hustle. And when I joined Facebook, Facebook is a great company for like, it's a mecca for product managers and stuff. But then after 6-7 months, I was like, is this really, I want to do it? And this is hard. I mean, as you grow up in your life, through the ladder of corporate ladders, it gets really, really difficult to quit the job and do it. So one fine day in like October, I said to my wife, like, this is done. I can't do this anymore. I have to go. And I was already started thinking about Simplified. And the Simplified is almost like a personal reason, and there is a professional reason. So personal reason was I always like design. I admired like creativity. I like to draw caricatures in my spare time. So there was like this personal reason, and then the professional reason was more while working with these different companies. One thing I noticed is one thing everybody needs, that is marketing. No matter what, whether you are small and large. But if you look at right now, especially last 1.5 year, digital content is leading to a Cambrian explosion of content creation. We are consuming more content. If you look at your iPhone's report, we are spending like 12 hours, 15 hours every day on our phone, consuming more content than ever. The second is these formats are getting lighter and extremely lightweight, like Instagram Reels, TikTok, or like videos, photos. So you as a business, you need to put more content out there, like more engaging, real content out there. And again, since I like marketers, I like creators, I realized that these marketers are struggling to keep up. Because not only because the demand is there, it's because these formats are lighter and existing tool sets are not meant for high performance, high scale needs. So that's where this whole idea of like Simplified started. Can we build a space where you can unleash your, like, you can work together, do more with less, and unleash your creativity? That's our like North Star. How can we make it like, can we build that space? And started with a very simple idea. I interviewed a lot of designers, creators, marketers, and just watch them from the shoulders. Was like, okay, what shoulder, how they use these tools, what is their tool stack looks like, and then realize that people are using a lot of siloed tools, a lot of efficiencies like wasted back and forth. When you see that Instagram, TikTok reel, probably I would say hundreds and thousands of hours spent behind that reel or that Instagram post or that content we consume in 10 seconds. That creator is constantly thinking, that marketer is thinking about the right background picture, right message, and they have to do it like day in, day out. So I was like, okay, why? How can we make their life easier? And that's where the journey of Simplified started. So our vision is like, be rather than the tool, we want to be
Hmm.
the space to bring people together, and so that way they can do more with less and bring that leverage the technology like artificial intelligence, so that way we can make their life faster, so that
Hmm.
they can unleash their creativity, work together. And the way we see is like future is, even today Google launched this transforming Google workspace. And if you see it, its future is all about making more flexible and helpful. And that's kind of the core fundamental belief at Simplified as well. Like, how can we foster human connections, enabling them deeper collaboration.
Hmm.
So we started the journey, and I mean, our last company was not built in public, but
Hmm.
then, and it's kind of, it makes you nervous. Like, oh, you are sharing a lot more stuff. You are like talking so much, like things in public. How people will perceive it? Like, am I? It's
Tell me about, yeah,
yeah.
tell me about the nervous. Like, what is that
Mm.
nervous instinct? Is it around a concern that people will misunderstand or that they'll steal your best ideas, or what does that feel like?
No, I think I have fundamental belief that ideas are worthless. Like,
Hmm.
execution, because people can steal your ideas, not the vision and execution. I think that's the thing. The most this anxiety was like, okay, what should you put? Like, because Instagram is all about looking good. Like, whenever you put that photo, you're like, oh, you're taking photos from three different angles, and you're like, okay, yeah, am I looking well? It's all
Yeah.
about how people others perceive it. But building is publishing is like putting raw formats, sharing, being real. uh, and entrepreneurship is all about, like, even I'm doing it like on second or third time, you still go through that ups and downs, and like that nervous, like someday you're like, yes, I can do this. Everybody's pumped. The other day is like, oh my,
Hmm.
I mean, did I make a mistake?
Yeah.
I so I think sharing those raw experiences, I'm still learning the art by observing a lot of others, but you meet like a lot of good people along the way. People appreciate, people admire, to just the kind of knowledge you are sharing. And one thing is, I learned by observing like Hiten Shah and a couple of others who've been like
Hmm.
mentors for me over the years, is like, more I'm just giving it back to the community, because I learned over the years. I have like very interesting, unique experience of working as a solo, or working as like early stage founder to lead in a big companies, and
Hmm.
then coming back to the startup. So it's a mix of like both. And in these top companies, I also work almost like entrepreneur. So it's just sharing that knowledge. And I was talking with another aspiring entrepreneur yesterday, and I told him like, look, I'm not going to tell you how to do things, because I also don't know those. I will tell
Hmm.
you how not to do things, because I
Hmm.
failed many times. So I'll tell you
Hmm.
how not to do things. Uh, and what I'm just sharing that authentic and real things. It's all about building in public, and I think it helps you build your brand. It helps you connect with your users, and at the end of the day, it helps sharing your knowledge, thought process. Um, it's sometimes, and initial first few days were like, oh, whether I should share these numbers or not. But then after a certain point, you're like, okay, let's be real.
Right.
Let's make everyone part of your journey.
What does building in public mean in the context of Simplified today? Like, is it blog, Twitter? Is it Instagram because it's so visual? Like, what are there certain
Mm.
channels or tools or kind of formats that work best?
I mean, for Simplified, the way we've been thinking about building it public is like, we ship fast. We ship every week, like every
Hmm.
Friday. We call it as a ship train. We just commit and execute on it. So once we ship it, we just show it. So if you go to simplified.co, we have what's new section there. So every week we drop there and ask users saying, what do you guys think? What is the next thing? So there are a couple of things like product roadmap, the what's new we are shipping, and then like the thought process behind why we are doing what we are doing. Because getting that feedback is like so crucial for us, like how people are thinking about it. And we usually get good hits, some retweets. LinkedIn is working decently well because Twitter is also, people respond. I get to connect with like a lot of different indie hackers. uh, and it's not just like one-way traffic, it's sharing and learning from them as well.
Right.
This weekend, I talked with like founder of Testimonial, Deman Cheng. Just general, we discussed like, hey, what should be, how you are thinking, and I help him, and he kind of helped me. So it's kind of connecting with the community, and even for indie hackers, building alone, being solo. And he tweeted, really said it really well. Being indie doesn't mean alone. You can still, you can just have other people. You can build the ecosystem around you, who can just give you this feedback and the thought process. And it helps like I get like few DMs around like, hey, how you are thinking about like the new features, or
Right.
I'm just thinking about, I'm at this stage of my career, what should I do? uh,
Mm-hmm.
just a random advice. So we try
Yeah.
to find like 10-15 minutes, catch up with that person, or he or she, and just share that authentic advice.
Right.
uh,
I wonder, have you tried assembling people into a kind of collective space where they can freeform discuss or give you feedback? You know, imagining like a Discord or something where everybody who cares about Simplified or who wants to learn about Simplified
yeah,
can all chime in and feature requests and hear you respond to others so they know how to chime in. I feel like there's like a lot of stuff in those kinds of
yeah, I
tools
think
that could be
that's
helpful.
we have a small community right now. We are like people, it's a low barrier,
Right.
nothing new need to be installed. So we are trying that. We also have a Slack channel, like across company Slack channels with some of our pilot customers who are
Mm-hmm.
engaged, who keep giving us feedback on like product and things which we need to improve on.
What's been
So
some of the most useful feedback there that you've gotten?
I think initially it was like because we are operating in a, or the product, we are operating in a place where initially it was like, oh, how you guys are different from Figma or like Canva or other places, right?
Yeah.
uh, and those products are like really feature rich. So initial first few months were like, okay, how you guys are different, what is the, but when you explain them how you guys are thinking, we are not trying to just build another X for X. We are trying to, our vision is to build that collaborative workspace, one app where you can do
Mm-hmm.
more things in like less time. You can collaborate. The foundation of our product is all collaboration, and the market is still growing. So that's where like bringing that whole ecosystem. And most of the companies are like products are thinking in one silo, like one particular
Mm-hmm.
person. When we think from the marketing point of view, we think about the life cycle of the marketer. Because when I mean, simple example, right? If you want to put, let's say, that Instagram post or Instagram video, it takes village for teams to come together, think about
Yep.
the formats, think about like publishing schedules, think about what needs to be, what copy they need to write. So at Simplified, we think about like how can we bring those pieces together, and so that we allow deep collaboration in the context they are working, rather than having like Slack messages or like chats. So and that's how we've been thinking about this whole ecosystem.
Right, and it sounds
Yeah.
like you keep using the kind of persona name a marketer, and
Yeah.
I think that to me sounds like a different persona than I typically hear, you know, somebody like Figma or Canva use. Like there's some
Right.
overlap, but it feels like the marketer is almost like a very focused kind of persona
Yes.
that you could probably develop like very unique things for. So I wonder, like, are there utilities, I guess some of these workflow utilities around kind of helping a team collaborate seem like some of them. Are there other utilities that are core to kind of a marketer's need that might not be as common in, kind of product design world?
Yeah, so typically, if you look at like brand design is such a complicated process. On one side, you have marketers who they want to move fast, and on the other side, you have brand designers who are overwhelmed with like small these tasks, saying, "Can you change the copy? Can you change this? Can you create like three different formats?" So that's where, and the designers operate in like their own. At the end of the day, both people are unhappy because
Yeah.
design is like, oh, you're constantly changing the brand, constantly like going off the grid, doing hacky things, and on the marketer, you guys are slow because you're not giving me what I want. So that's where the simplified comes in picture and says, okay, hey designers, we will reduce your workflows. You can just come into simplified, set up the templates on brand templates, and marketers, you can just clone those templates and really get things done faster and more efficiently. And with AI piece which we've been bringing in, it's like, okay, how can we allow marketers to, even like copywriters, how can they write things more faster? How can they consistently deliver on brand content across all the channels? That's the thesis we've been working on. As creativity as a space is evolving, we want to become, our mission is to be the one app, so which is like almost like the part of your ecosystem, part of your marketing ecosystem.
Right.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, I think one thing that's probably common in a marketer's needs or marketing ecosystem that's maybe not as common in design is this kind of AI part, because a lot of marketing, you are doing like testing and sort of looking at click-through rates and impression rates and kind of things on ad networks. So it seems to me like that is a big open space of innovation that nobody else really seems to be focused on. And so have you played with tools like GPT-3 as part of how?
I've been playing with, and I'll show you in a minute or so the kind of.
Oh, cool! Yeah, we'd love to see it. Yeah,
the whole thing we did it.
Feel free to pull it up whenever.
Yeah, sure. All the GPT-3 and everything we did. The other thing is like, see, the one analogy I always give, or the parallels, we made so much progress from like Microsoft Paintbrush to like Adobe Photoshop, like incredible tool. I use it for my photo stuff, but that we lost that simplicity from going from one point to another point. With technology progressed, but it's so with simplified, we are saying, okay, can we give that same experience but make it like dead simple, that anyone, like literally without learning curve, can they use this tool? That's the and technology does the heavy lifting for you. So that's the thesis, and it's all cloud browser based, so you don't need to go and do all those things. So that's how we've been thinking and building Simplified.
Right.
So
how does the browser thing, sort of what are the edges or trade-offs? Because we think obviously, we're all about the browser ourselves. We're like host a live TV show in a browser. So we take all these complexities of downloadable software and stuff, and we try to make it work. But of course there are trade-offs in sort of what you can accomplish. And I notice, tools like Figma uses a native app for some of the stuff, but they also have browser stuff. So are there areas where you feel like you really have to work hard to fit it in the browser? Are there certain like functions or product features that are really challenging there?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. One is not like giving too much functionality and making it's crowded. It's something we are shying away from. We don't want to create like really complex software. We want to create like something like you feel like it's slick. You feel like yours. There's no, almost, as long as you know how to use like Google Docs, Google presentations, you can just step into Simplified and just accelerate on the knowledge you already gathered over the years. That's the fundamental thing. The second is we iterate like so many times to just see through. We put it out there, give it to users, and see how they think, how users are thinking, and then come back and iterate it again. So simplifying things is the most challenging.
Yeah.
Like keeping that user experience clean, so they feel that, and building product is just one part. Building the ecosystem around it is the most difficult part. Making sure that you have everything what you need,
Right.
without like just going through that whole process of thinking.
Hmm.
Yeah. I would love to kind of like take us through an example of someone's first interaction with Simplified. Like what would they
Yeah.
start to pull in, and sort of like what's their journey when they first start using it?
Yeah, sure. I would love to. So let me share my screen. All right. So uh, here we go. Simplified. So the way it works is everything is organized in workspace. So you can
Do you
see.
mind also putting that full screen? It'll be a little bigger.
Okay, let me.
Your browser.
Yeah. The other thing you do is if you just choose the Chrome tab, I think it'll
Oh yeah, there we
in
go.
the yeah, that looks good.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So
this is good.
yeah, so the way it works is once you come in, you can do a couple of things. You can first start design from scratch, or browse our templates, or use like AI tools. But usually the way it starts is with the workspace. You can invite your team, or you can set up your brand kit. You can upload your logos, you can upload your fonts, and connect certain apps like Shopify, Google Drive. So typical day-to-day apps which you use every day. And then when you want to design, if you want to like browse any templates, we have really nicely designed template library which you can just use immediately, clone any of the template, and start like designing like without much going back and forth. Or if you want to, let's say, for example, let's clone one of the template. You can just clone one of the templates, and we try to keep the interface as clean as possible. We already have like bunch of templates. You have components, you have like text, and then images from like every source which is out there, from like Pixabay, Pixel, Google Drive, Shutterstock, and then visuals. So the whole idea is you can choose your text, and then you don't need to know what's happening. You can just use it like almost like a Google Drive, Google PowerPoint. And
Hmm.
then if you want to do more advanced stuff, you can always open advanced panel and think like a designer. You can do more like styling. You can do like everything, pretty much like any advanced tool which allow you can achieve it. Drop shadows and stick. But the most important part is like you can work collaboratively in a real time. You can clone all these artboards and simply resize it. So when if I'm thinking like a brand campaign, I
Hmm.
can go and make like really nice looking brand campaign without much friction. So if you see it, I have created a story, and here is my Instagram post. And the way AI works is you can we already have like background removers as well as some of the GPT-3 stuff which we have integrated. I'll show it to you in a minute in the application. So you can start it, share it with your team, and start collaborating like immediately. So deliver like consistent look and feel across all your marketing channels. And then you
Hmm.
can you have comments, so that way you can invite other people on your team and start conversation with them in real time. And then the whole so this is all about like creating templates from your templates. And then the second piece is all about AI. So how can we allow you to leverage AI in the design context? So you can click like new projects, and you have all these like different um, categories, and you can say I want to create, let's say, photo captions, or like convey my feelings. You can click and
Hmm.
say I'm feeling excited, and say save. It will go and generate like really beautiful AI captions which you can select and generate a design immediately from it. It takes like 10-15 minutes depending on seat. And we've been thinking about it like how can we deliver like consistent experience. I can just choose whichever I like and say generate designs, and it will create really nice designs for you. which you can just go and share them on social media channels. So as a marketer, you can do less, like more, with just few clicks. And then the whole connected app ecosystem. We are building a lot of connected apps, so that way you can connect with your Shopify, Google Sheets, do a lot of automation in place. We're still early in the journey, but the foundation is there.
Yeah,
So
nice.
that way you can continue expanding on it, and build this whole collaborative workspace. And the way shape our app is taking is not, we started with the design tool, but now people are using it like for creating presentations and other stuff. So because it
Oh,
looks
cool.
like really simple,
Yeah.
and you can add like so many different stuff. You can clone it. Um, so we are just learning how users use it, and listening and iterating. And as a part of build in public, usually already have our we use heavy users of intercom,
Yeah.
where people can just vote for ideas, or if they can request certain stuff. So we are constantly looking and iterating through the product and bringing that ecosystem. And it's not just about, as I said, it's not just about giving them one flow, but you can have like your folders. You can organize your content in your folders, so that way when your next brand campaign is going live, you can start organizing content in the folders, or like have team templates, so that way you can deliver like consistent looking brand across all your marketing channels. And then you can
Wow.
save certain components.
Yeah.
So all that functionality is already built in, and we are really excited to slowly onboard. We are onboarding users in batches to just see. We built it now. It's we are still
Yeah.
learning how people are, like what directions people are taking it, and what kind of things they can do it. Just listening and constantly iterating is
Yeah.
our that's what we are doing right now.
Well, it looks very full featured. I'm impressed because I
Yeah.
I was not expecting I was not expecting it to be so built out already.
Yeah, thank you. I
It's
mean,
very cool. Looks nice.
yeah, the thanks. And team is really good. The team which we put together, and I mean, these are
Hmm.
people. We are a very very small team. We just have like apart. I mean, I code as well. So apart from, besides me, there are a couple of other engineers,
Hmm.
and we are fully remote team. There is no
Oh,
office.
cool.
We have
Yeah.
folks right now. One person is in Canada, other person is in Europe, other person is in India. So it's like a fully distributed, and that's how we
Yeah.
want to do the culture, because for us, people is more important than product. That's the fun. And there are a few principles we've been following as we are building these companies, like show, don't tell. Like don't it's that's the belief, that's the how the DNA of the company is. Like go execute
Hmm.
on it. If you think like this is this is what you want to build, just go build it. Just show people what's the best way to do it. Lead by
Right.
example.
Right.
And as we are growing the team, as we are attracting the right talent, that those are the qualities we are looking into people. um,
And I wonder a little bit kind of decisions around that because I think the remote team thing is I think it's becoming a much more talked about conversation, certainly in the recent year, but even recent several years. And is this something, I guess, how long have you been working on Simplified?
I would say I started hacking by myself in last March, and then left Facebook in October. So I would say I've been working on Simplified since October. It's less than a year.
Hmm.
We are working on it.
Yeah, cool. And so I guess in that, yeah, like in the October timeframe, it probably would have been hard to have an HQ.
Yeah,
So
true.
was that kind of did that emerge out of just practicality or necessity, or did you start saying you wanted it to be this way for different reasons?
I think it's almost like it's a years of practice. Because when I started when I founded Vessel, we had offshore team. Then when I went to Mercado, I was managing team in Tel Aviv, then
Hmm.
Seattle. Then when I worked at Uber, we had team in Amsterdam, in Belarus. So over the years, I learned the art of like just building when remote teams were not in remote thing was not things. Since then, I've been kind of building these teams, and few
Yeah.
lessons I learned while building these teams, because often people feel like it's a turnkey solution. Oh, you just put like 3 people out there, they will just start performing as like your in-person team. It won't work that way. You have to invest time, you have to invest like energy, and as a leader, as a founder, you need to lead by example. You need to every company has rituals, how you want to do things. For example, at Simplified, we deeply care about user experience, we deeply care
Mm-hmm.
about giving that like slick experience and pace of like speed at which we are executing.
Mm-hmm.
So first, and give the time, because people are people, no matter what, where they are, at the end of the day it's people. So you need to almost give them little time, show them how to do things. First be a player, then be a coach, then be a mentor, and then you can say, okay, now I'll take my hands off steering wheel. And people, these are smart mature adults who can just
Mm-hmm.
take the decisions. And I think the I have rinsed and repeated this remote hiring process at these different companies. So here also
Mm-hmm.
we are um, bringing those good practices in Simplified, because in a in-person setting you can feel the other person, even though it's like
Mm-hmm.
6-7 hours, but you can have phone conversations. But in remote setting it's hard. So the
Right.
unique blend of like what we do in our hiring, first we once we meet people, and we do a lot of Twitter hire on Twitter as well, or like
Hmm.
hire in public. Usually we invite them to just work with us, like, hey, come and work with
Mm-hmm.
us, because it's a two-way
Mm.
street. We don't want them to feel like once they join, they should feel like, oh, this is something I'm really passionate about. I really want to
Right.
work with these people. I'm getting adjusted to this schedule, and then we should feel like, okay, this he or she is the right person on the team that performing at that level. So we usually say, okay, after initial conversation, if things look good, we ask them like, come and work with us. It's a full paid opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Work if as if like you are part time. Are you really passionate about this space? Do you
Mm-hmm.
really care about creativity and enabling like next generation of creators, next generation of marketers? And if the feeling is mutual, in 2 weeks you start seeing. They also see the energy. They also see the how we think on our Slack and our conversations. And then since we have people in different time zones, we tend to meet. We every day meet at like around 9 p.m. Our time, like PST. So all of us
Mm-hmm.
can just like huddle for half an hour, Monday to like Sunday to Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so we set up that plan, and then every person is just going and executes on in their own direction, and then we use Slack, WhatsApp, all sort of like different channels to keep each other posted.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we've been sort of like. And after 2 weeks, if they don't like it, if their feeling is not mutual, then we always say, okay, we'll be friends.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be
Yeah.
friends. Uh,
Right.
and if things work out, then yeah, just come and work with us. Like, so 9 out of 10 times this works great, because then that person already, because most of the engineers get scared because they are already used to. I mean, most of the time you go to office, you know the person, but in remote setting you
Right.
don't know the person. So we always give them an opportunity to like come and work with us, like see who we are, learn about us.
Yeah.
Like just don't blindly say, okay, I want to work with these guys. Like and look at the way we are operating, look at the way what we are doing. So just be part of that. Do you see yourself? And there are no, because there are no limitations on like what time you can work on. You can just like, as long as you are getting shit done,
Mm-hmm.
but it's your schedule. That's the biggest advantage of like getting people like across the
Right.
globe.
So it sounds like there's sort of the collaboration 9 p.m. is like synchronous collaboration kind of on
Correct,
the, was it Sunday through Thursday at 9
correct,
p.m.?
correct.
Everybody comes together synchronously and that's over Zoom or something like that.
Right. Or Zoom, and then
And
we use our own product also for a lot of collaboration,
yeah,
brainstorming ideas.
yeah,
So that also helps us in like understanding, and people respond to like intercom tickets, so
yeah.
they could know like, okay, what's happening, what customers, how their people, how customers are feeling, or like how users are thinking about our product, what new features we should be adding. And that's kind of that continuous iteration is the key of
Mm-hmm.
like this whole process. And once COVID is over, we plan to give at least, we're still a very small team, so we can still
Yeah.
fly at one place and see each other in person. But
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the rituals we are setting, like at Simplified.
Right. Yep, that's cool. We end up doing, because we're building a collaboration tool as well, we end up having our oftentimes daily meetings on these, but we actually are very similar kind of in ethos, and that we're, distributed all over the world, no specific time zone, but we collaborate kind of during a few hours, that during the week, and then we do most of the stuff, async.
Yeah, I
So
think that's
interesting
what
pattern.
Loom is also a very integral part of our
Mm.
Mm.
culture. Like
Yep.
people use Loom like to probably its extent share stuff. And once they know once they know the ritual, pretty much everyone has
Mm-hmm.
their own swim lanes, so they just go
Right.
and execute on it. We and what we did is in the initial days we did a lot of CI/CD infrastructure in place, so that
Mm-hmm.
way once you like you can constantly push your code um, and optimize the like performance, because at the end of the day it's when your two people are collaborating, you don't want to give them jerky experience. uh,
Right.
so it's a complex product to build, but
Yeah.
we are really excited about what we accomplished and where we are heading. I think that North Star is really exciting.
Are there certain kind of technologies or skill sets that are typical of somebody who might contribute on the team? Like, are you built in React and JavaScript, or how does
Yeah,
all the web stuff work?
our front end is all like React stack, React Redux, a stylized component, and all that stuff like the TypeScript, Nodes, all the stuff. Backend is like over the years we are like all Python, Django stack, AWS
Hmm.
hosted on that ecosystem. But I mean, yeah, we are pretty much open for like a lot of different technologies and
Yep.
constantly experimenting what performs better. As we plan to open the floodgates later this summer, it will be fun to see how creators come in and how people use our application.
Right.
Yeah.
How do people typically hear about Simplified? Are they hear about it from somebody else, or is the unit of creation, does that sometimes sort of get shared in a context where somebody learns about the tool through the sharing moment?
Yeah. So it's like a couple of ways. First is you hit the nail on the head. First is through sharing. It's like, let's say for Mishti, she's working, she's usually, hey, can you take a look at this brand campaign? And then you jump in and you start
Hmm.
looking. The other
Mm-hmm.
way is like just the people hear about it and then they
Hmm.
request an access, or somebody on Twitter said, oh, like I can do, because we're still kind of slowly ramping it up when we did not reveal it to the world what is behind the doors.
Right.
But people are learning in, and then they talk about it in a small Facebook group saying, hey, I've been using this, what do you think? This kind of allows us to do stuff. And there are a
Hmm.
couple of like we have seen few champions who just go and talk about it. And the third is like the build in public. That's where also some we get some inbound requests from them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
How are
is
you thinking
the
about,
go ahead.
oh, you mentioned like opening the floodgates over the summer. How are you thinking about that? Is it like just ramping up a lot more on those things you were just talking about, or what's kind of in store?
Yeah, so I mean, see the one thing every user and every touch point is important. I mean, we can like literally we can just say, hey, sign up anybody, but then we are not in position to support all of these users right now. We are a small team, so we are still experimenting. Like, what is the best way to support user? Whether do we need to, if they experience certain problem, if they have certain support issues, do they need to like submit a ticket and wait for 2 days? Nobody waits for 2 days right now. So how can we scale our support? Do we have enough documentation? Do we have enough like videos or like some help material in place? So as we get ready, we at least like we won't be as a founder. You won't be ever ready you've always been this like let's do more, but we are right now writing some documentation, at least some help guides, so that if someone most of the product, like 80-90% of the product is like very easy to use, and love to have you guys on board and give it a try. But if somebody wants to do something more extra, they we want to make sure that we have enough ecosystem in place. At least somebody is listening to their feedback and iterating. And we haven't built any pricing yet. So we've been thinking like, because if we want to commoditize the whole creativity and make it like Simplify, then it needs to be affordable. You cannot just like charge them, so that way it is again becomes a part of like big companies or like small companies. So that's another thing we've been like constantly thinking, like what is that pricing model? How should we go about it?
Are there like different philosophies, overall? I mean, there's some of the obvious small team things that are per seat or, site-wide license for a domain or something. How do you are there other kind of more creative approaches that you might be considering?
I mean, I think lately, if you look at like Airtable, Notion, or like these really amazing product-led growth companies, what they did, we are following the same footstep that you come in. I mean, we will help you as a user or that knowledge worker to get things done more efficiently. And then typically then you bring your people, and once you start bringing your own people, our product is all about teams and marketers. So as your marketing teams start working together, as you turn on more integrations and more producing more content, that's where we will start thinking. We are very obsessed with like retention numbers, because one thing is there is curiosity to learn, like, okay, let me try it, what exactly, and then the obsession to continue using it. So we are talking to users, understanding, okay, what if they want to come back, why they want to come back, or if they don't want to come back, then what is missing in I think the Suhail said it really well. The mighty founder and Nixpan, I'm a big admirer for him over the years. He said like, from MVP or like to product market fit, there is nothing, no magic. It's like a continuously you need to grind, listen to users, and just build the feature gap between you and other alternatives they have. That's the thing, and the time it takes. That's the phase you need to just go through again and again and again and all the time. I think we are in that phase where willingness to try versus like, hey, willingness to buy, and just continuous iteration to get there. And that because we want, our whole goal or the feeling we want to create is like, it's slick. Is I can accomplish more. That's the fundamental thesis behind, like, it has to be simplified, otherwise it doesn't meet the bar.
Yeah, and the brand is the promise, right?
Yeah, exactly. Brand is the promise.
Yeah, that's great. I know we're kind of approaching the end, so we will start wrapping up soon, because we approached the end of the time we decided to spend together. But I just wanted to catch a few last minute thoughts. One is, I think we were connected via Todd Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
And how do you know Todd?
Yeah, so Todd and I got connected through. So I'm a part of On Deck. Yeah. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to On Deck.
Yeah.
We'd actually love to hear more, because we've been talking to a few people, but we haven't fully gotten the On Deck stories. We'd love to hear your experience with On Deck.
Yeah, so I think On Deck probably my fourth pivotal moment is joining On Deck. Since I left, my company got acquired in 2015. I was thinking about a lot of different ideas. I started another side kind of hustle in last 5 years, but never had courage to go and quit the job. And probably rather than courage, I was shying away to like whether I should do it or not. So in March, just before COVID started, On Deck reached out to me and said, okay, hey, there is this program, why don't you join it? And I was like, okay. They invited us in, I think, Napa or somewhere, and just COVID hit. Lockdown was there, so then I procrastinated my joining till June, July timeframe. And when I was like, okay, let's give it a try. Anyways, I'm building Simplified. Back then we were calling it as a TLDR, Like literally, the name was TLDR. So they invited, and I joined the community. I think community is mind blowing. The energy is like unparalleled. People are willing to help. It's raw feedback. People and what they, David, Vikram, and Eric, and all the on deck team did is they got like really top quality people, like high talent people from different spectrum, and put them on one Slack and said, okay, now it's all yours. Let us get out of the way.
Right.
It's our job is done. I mean, there is some structure, but our job is done.
Right.
Now you guys help each other. So I just saw the energy. I just saw like I got to meet like a lot of make new friends, and I was like, okay, this is where I belong, rather than like being in corporate world, like being a small cog in a big wheel. This is where I belong. This is where I want to spend like time. And then fast forwarding October, that burning desire got to a point where I was like, I can't do it, and that's where I left the on deck. And during this whole process, on deck been with there like helping us, and that's how we got connected with Todd.
I see. And so on working at Facebook on the Messenger team at the time you were doing on deck, and you were kind of thinking about potentially leaving. So on deck was a little bit of like a transition pad or kind of a holding place.
On deck was almost like that one final push. Of like those 1,000 people who are like constantly that energy. I was like, okay, it's done. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and get out there. So shout out to like and kudos to On Deck for building this incredible community of people who are just like, and people are still everybody is looking to achieve some things, and there is a desire to help each other. So that was probably, I mean, without On Deck, I mean, it Simplified could have maybe I mean, for On Deck was the thing which kind of gave me the final push and connected with like-minded people and said, okay, now you can just still go and build the whole company around this. Like early adopters and people who are like, yeah, this is good. This could be interesting project. And more than others, it's like it gives you pleasure when you design something fun. It makes you like happy. That feeling.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I know we're at the end of our hour, so I wanted to wrap and thank you, KD, for spending the time. It was great to hear your stories. I feel like we really got like the real you out today, so really enjoyed hearing from you.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. I think you guys are doing. I mean, I'm already all the platform I'm seeing here. It's very polished and it has like so many things here. So awesome job on that front. And I'll subscribe and keep listening to a lot of inspiring stories from other founders as well.
Great. If you do know people in your network who you think would be good for us to chat with, please don't hesitate to DM me or email, because we'd love to meet interesting people like you.
Sure, absolutely. All right, I'll do that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, KD.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
That's awesome.
Cool.